This is a 2021 Toyota Supra, one of the most iconic Japanese sports cars in the industry. And after 1 year of being out, it's already getting a 4-cylinder engine. The question is the 4-cylinder engine as fun to drive as a 6-cylinder model? Let's find out. The Supra first came out in 1979 in the shape of the Celica Supra, and little by little it started getting the recognition that it has today. First because of its performance credentials, but also because of its role in the Fast and Furious franchise. For 21 years, the Supra stopped selling in the US until this 5th generation model came out. This Supra was actually a collaboration between Toyota and BMW. It shares the same powertrains and platforms with the BMW C4, and it's another sports car that we have finally back in the industry. Who is the Supra competing against? Well, on the one hand, we have the Ford Mustang and the Chevrolet Camaro, but on the other hand, we also have the Porsche Cayman 718 and the BMW M240i. Those are iconic sports cars that are built for enthusiasts, and that is essentially who this Supra is targeted to. Those who want a thrilling drive behind the wheel, those who want more emotion and performance at the same time. As an icon, design has always played a big part in the Supra, and that's not the exception here with the 5th generation model. Let's start here in the front. You have this pointy nose that kind of resonates what the A80 Supra had, the previous generation Supra. But also here in the bottom, you have huge air vents to cool down this engine. Now, as you move over here to the front, you'll see the headlights kind of have like a Darth Vader look, a weird look to it, but it's something that Toyota wanted to play with and to attract buyers to this new Supra. But as you move to the rear, you'll see how wide the hips get. This is a sports car, so you want this to have presence on the road. On the rear, the taillights mimic the headlights design, and you have this big deck-lit spoiler also resonating with a sports car today. Because this is a smaller engine, you have smaller exhaust tips. Overall, even though you get smaller wheels and smaller exhaust tips, you're still getting the same design and the same shape as a 6-cylinder Supra, and that's something successful for this model. So, unlike the exterior, the interior is very BMW-like. And what I mean is that if I cover this Toyota badge right here on the steering wheel, I can tell you right now that all of this cabin came straight out from BMW. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's because this is a Toyota and that's like a BMW cabin is a step up or an upgrade, if you will. But at the same time, there was not a lot of attention to detail placed in this cabin. It's not bad, but it is also a very driver-centric car or a driver's car. The attention was put into the way that this car handles and the way that this car drives. Having said that, there are some nice things put into this cabin. For example, you got 8.8-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay. It's the old iDrive infotainment system from BMW. That it's not super updated, but it works well. There's some carbon fiber trim around here in the center console, and then I have a digital display right here in front of me in the dashboard. So there's some technology aspect to it, but this is not a very technology-forward car. What I do like is that everything is within easy access, easy reach for the driver. The touchscreen is easy to access, the shifter is super easy to access. In terms of space, it is tight, but at the same time, I'm 6 feet tall, I have some headroom left here. Visibility is not great, and cargo room is kind of mediocre. But again, this wasn't meant to be a versatile car or anything like that. This was meant to be a sports car, and that's exactly what it is. Since the beginning, the Supra and the inline 6-cylinder engines were pretty much glued together until this 5th generation model. This is the first time that we find a 4-cylinder engine underneath the Supra hood. Where is this engine coming from? Well, it's a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine that comes from BMW and delivers 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. It's an 8-speed automatic transmission that's sending all that power to the rear wheels. In terms of fuel economy, you're getting about 25 miles per gallon in the city and 32 on the highway. But the most important part here is that this is a pretty fun car to drive. Because you lose 2 cylinders in the front, that also means that there is less weight in the front. And so in terms of steering, it's more maneuverable and more fun to drive in some ways. It feels more connected to the road because there is just less weight on the front. Now, because you have so much horsepower there, this is a car that's still pretty thrilling to drive. Expect a 0 to 60 time in about 5 seconds, which is not that much more than what the 6-cylinder model gives you. So the important part here is that even though you're losing power and 2 cylinders, you're still getting a pretty fun to drive experience. In terms of safety, the Supra has not been rated by any agency, but it does come with a long list of standard safety features. In terms of pricing, the 4-cylinder Supra starts at around $44,000, but this car next to me, it's about $48,000. This is a pretty good value proposition because you're getting the looks from the Supra and you're still getting a pretty good performance out of it. So losing the 2 cylinders made the price drop on the Supra, and I think that made it a little bit more attainable. How does it fall in line with the competition? Well, it's right in the middle. It's more expensive than the Camaro and the Mustang, but it's less expensive than the BMW M240i or even the Porsche Cayman 718. Overall, I think this is a great value because you're getting good performance and the looks of the Supra 6-cylinder, except you do it for less money. The one thing you should know about the 4-cylinder Toyota Supra is this. Yes, you're losing 2 cylinders and you're losing in terms of performance, but this is still a pretty special car to drive. And you're not losing anything in terms of looks. So the move by Toyota to have a 4-cylinder engine in the Supra made the car more accessible to consumers and to enthusiasts, and that's always a good thing. To see our vehicle rankings and complete buyer's guide, visit motortrend.com/cars.